Inshallah, today we would like to provide a review from all of what we have learned from chapter number 1 to chapter 9. نسلم عليكم جميعا وصراحة اشتقنا إليكم واليوم نريد أن نقوم بالمراجعة من كل ما درسنا من chapter 1 إلى chapter 9 بإذن الله تعالى.
So chapter number 1. In chapter number 1, the first thing we talked about was the difference between managerial accounting and financial accounting. And the main difference between managerial accounting and financial accounting is that the users in managerial accounting are internal and the users of financial accounting are external. And there are other differences as well that you should know. The other thing we talked about was the manufacturing costs. Another name for manufacturing costs are product costs. And product costs or manufacturing costs are all of those costs related to the manufacturing process. And they include direct materials, direct labor, and manufacturing overhead. So any of those activities that occur inside the factory we call manufacturing costs. كل تكاليف يتعلق بالأمور في تصنيع داخل المصنع نقول أنها manufacturing cost. إما يكون direct materials, direct labor أو manufacturing overhead. وmanufacturing overhead كل شيء غير مباشر يدخل فيها. We also talked about non-manufacturing costs. And non-manufacturing cost, another name for non-manufacturing cost is period costs. And period costs refer to any cost that is outside of the manufacturing process or outside of the factory. And these include selling expenses and administrative expenses. كل تكاليف متعلقة بالأمور خارج الإجراءات التصنيع وخارج المصنع نسميه non-manufacturing cost or period cost. ومن ضمنها selling expenses مثل الشحن التغليف أو إعلانات والadministrative expenses مثل إدارة رواتب المدراء. We also talked about work in process, and work in process describes any type of product that is not completely finished. So we know that in the beginning we start with raw materials, then we move to work in process. So this is the period where the goods are not fully finished, and then we have finished goods at the end. So any good that is not fully finished we call work in process. الwork in process المنتج إنما يكون غير كامل هو بين المواد خام والمنتج الكامل. And the other thing we talked about was the cost of goods manufactured schedule. So you need to remember that we begin with beginning WIP, then we plus total manufacturing costs, and we minus ending WIP. And we also talked about cost of goods sold. So cost of goods sold, we begin with beginning finished goods, we plus cost of goods manufactured, and we minus ending finished goods. Chapter number 2. Chapter number 2, we first talked about the job order cost system. And the example I gave you is the hospital. In this system, each job or each batch is different than the subsequent job or batch. في هذا النظام نقول أن في دفعة أو الطلب، وكل الطلب وكل دفعة تختلف عن الدفعة الثانية. مثل المريض عندما يأتي إلى المستشفى، المريض الثاني يكون أمور يخصه ويختلف عن المريض الأول. Then we have a process cost system. In the process cost system, the example that I gave you was soft drinks. So in this system, the process is continuous and it is the same. It repeats and it does not change.